12th. It is 6:08 p.m. in the evening on a Wednesday. And this Wednesday, I am reaching out to you to share an experience that I had this morning. I didn't share it this morning actually after it happened because it was too close to me going to work. So I really wasn't able to sit down and record the experience, but I'm going to share it with you now. So, one of the things I want you to know is that this morning I wasn't necessarily expecting this to happen. So, I usually stay up in the middle of the night and sometimes all night working on the projects that I'm working on, the fictional ones. You know, when I'm writing and I'm creating, and it's a good time for me. So I really honestly didn't close my eyes this morning. Actually, I was up pretty much all night writing and stuff. And it was about 6 in the morning, and I have to be, getting ready for work around 7 or so. So it wasn't until six in the morning that I laid down, and it was probably a little past 6 in the morning. And I figured I'd rest my eyes a little bit, just relax a little bit before I go to work. Now, in these situations, I know that there are times when it happens. So, my suggestion to you guys, well, one of the suggestions I told you, or I've told you before in the past, is, when you're exhausted, when you've exhausted your mind, when you're tired, it's a good time to make an attempt. For me, I guess it is. I've heard other people say that it works for them. For me, it's been working for quite some time. If I am tired, but I can't be too tired. If I'm too tired, I will fall right to sleep. But if I'm too awake, I probably won't have an experience. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. And sometimes I get that, that sweet spot right there in the middle where my mind is tired, but it's not too tired. And this morning, I guess that was the case. Now, I had on storm sounds for those of you who are interested. As I have told you, sometimes I use storm sounds. Sometimes I don't have anything on. I do not use binaural beats, by the way. And I'm not worried about whether I'm laying on my back or laying on my side. Again, I'm just going over this stuff because this is the stuff I see in the subreddit. People are always asking, well, should I be laying on my back? Should that's not comfortable. I like, sleeping on my side. And I always tell people, just lay the way you feel most comfortable and most relaxed. You don't have to worry about necessarily being on your back. I can tell you that most of the time, actually, it's not very comfortable for me to be on my back. So most of the time when these experiences happen, I'm on my side, and it's usually on my right side because that's where I feel the most comfortable. So I was just laying there and, just kind of relaxing again, storm sounds on. And probably within about 10 to 15 minutes, that's when I felt that sort of snap into the middle place, the place between being asleep and awake. And I've talked about this before, that I feel that there is a bridge that we cross into the dream world when we go, right? So we start at the beginning when we're conscious. Just imagine a bridge. You're standing there, right? And then there's this bridge that goes over into the dream world. On the other side is the dream world. And in the middle, that's where it's the most interesting. Because if you can get to that middle place, if you can get right there, that's the sweet spot. For me, it is. And then there, oh my gosh, so many things have been possible for me. So not only just astral projection or shifting, but also communicating with spirit beings, all kinds of things. There are probably things that I'm capable of in that middle space, and that people are capable of in that middle space, that are even beyond the things like that, even beyond being able to communicate with spirit beings, astral project, or shift. So I think there's a lot of power there. And so I reached that middle space. Sometimes I have this sense, this is weird. I'll share this with you. Sometimes I have this sense like I'm jumping up and down. Like, it's so weird. Your mind does all these different things to make you understand, to try to actually, for it to try to understand what's going on. And I think one of the translations is this sense of jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. In this situation, I think that's kind of what happened. That I was kind of going up and down in that middle space. And then at some point, I jumped up, or I felt myself lift up, and then boom, I was going into the void. Now, I see this on the subreddit so much about people talking about the void. They talk about that a lot. They talk about manifesting in the void. In fact, I just recently had a question from someone asking me about manifesting or something like that in the void. And for me, I will tell you, for those of you who are interested in this, and this is probably related to shifting, but I would say astral projection as well. When I am in that state, when I am there, it is darkness, just like I felt this time. I felt myself lift and I felt myself begin to turn, and I am weightless. Now, this isn't something I'm imagining, right? I'm not like sitting in my mind imagining or daydreaming that this is happening. This is what I actually physically feel. I feel as if I could be in space. I feel as if I am turning weightless in space, and not my spirit being, not my astral body, because I don't feel separation when I shift. I feel my entire body turning slowly, and I am just filled with love, guys, when this happens. It's so overwhelming, that feeling of love, and it's just the connection that you have with all things. I don't think about the manifesting thing, and I don't think about other stuff either. I just think about love and connection. That's what I think about when I'm there, when I'm turning. And like I said, the feeling's amazing. The first time I was in the void, the first time I felt that feeling, it was like, afterwards, when I opened my eyes back in the 3D world, it was like I was in a daze for the entire day. It was pretty extraordinary, really, really extraordinary. So I'm turning in the void, and going up and down. And I remember at some time, going up and down, I mean turning slowly, and at some point I asked the question in my mind, what is this? What is this really? You want to know why I asked this question, guys? Because we have names for things, right? We called, shifting. We call astral projection. We call the void. But that's a name that we came up with. I wonder sometimes, is there a different name? Is there something else? Like, if I'm out there, I want to ask the question, what is this really? And again, this is because my mind is open. I haven't sat there and said, okay, so people say it's the void, so that's the void and that's it. I want to know, I want to go deeper, and I want to discover more about this. I think this is a part of why I'm such a traveler, such an explorer, because I want to know more. I don't want to just accept that this is what this is. I keep my mind open, and I'm like, I wonder what this really is. Now, I heard a voice very distant. I couldn't make out the words. I think because I can also kind of hear the storm sounds in the background. I could hear that. And I was like, really listening. And I didn't hear anything, guys. But I think I will ask that question again. I will let you know once I, find out, if I find out anything differently. So at some point, I dropped. And that is a pattern. That happens almost every single time I go into the void. I turn and turn and turn, right? Weightless. And I have that feeling, and it's wonderful. I'm filled with love. And then suddenly I drop. And I'm dropping down. And it's pretty fast at first. And then as I was coming to the floor of this place, because I dropped into this house, I slowed down, and it was almost like a feather. My entire self was like a feather, and I hit the floor, and then I got up. And now I don't feel like I'm in my astral body at this point. Again, I just want to tell you guys specifically what's going on. I feel as if I'm in a physical body at this point, and I'm looking around, right? So just as much as if when you're in the 3D world, you're looking around, you're touching stuff, whatever. This is the same feeling that I have. I feel like, I am here in this place. I'm not dreaming this. This is like real. This is like reality, or a reality. I shouldn't say, it's not my reality. It's a different one. So I'm looking around, and so there were three things I noticed. And I remember one of the things, guys, I do, one of the tricks that I use to be able to remember more when I come back from a trip is I kind of put things in categories. Like the first thing I saw were these white chairs, and they look plastic. And to me, I thought about like chairs that you would see at a pool, which is I know it's very strange, but they were chairs. There were several of these chairs, and they were kind of scattered throughout this this house. And the second thing I noticed was there was like video game consoles, like maybe the old style video games, the ones that they had in arcades. I think I've actually seen that before. There was another experience I had where I saw an actual pinball machine, and I don't really see those very often anymore. So I saw that as well. So I noted that in my mind. What is that? I didn't go towards that. And then I saw what appeared to be a treadmill. And I know you guys are thinking, treadmill? This guy is crazy. No, I kid you not. There was like a treadmill, but it wasn't like any treadmill I've ever seen. There was like, on some of these treadmills now, on I guess many of them, they have video screens where you can watch stuff. So there was a video screen, and I almost thought I saw some kind of video playing on it, but there was more to this treadmill. There looked like there were silver weights that were kind of attached to it or on top of it, but they were a part of it. And I was like reaching in and hitting a button or something. Now, this was a really confusing thing for me because so I'm sitting here, I'm trying to tell you kind of what I remember, but what I can tell you is that I honestly don't think this was a treadmill. I think my mind had came up with that. Just like it maybe came up with the white chairs and it came up with the video game stuff, because that's what it understands. I don't think I was seeing that. I think I was seeing something else. I think I was seeing something more than just that. I think my first feeling when I opened my eyes, when I came back, because I came back soon after this, I was messing with this screen, messing with what appeared to be a treadmill, and it seemed almost, I gotta say, multidimensional. Like there were different layers and stuff to it or something. It was really weird and hard for me to explain and hard for my mind to comprehend. I was having a very difficult time with it, but when I opened my eyes, I thought to myself, multidimensional. That's what it felt like this place was. It felt like in one space, it was multidimensional and I could perceive it. I could perceive these things but I don't know why exactly I thought that. I'm not exactly sure. But that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And I'm very interested to see if I travel to other places like this in the future. We'll have to see. But I really want to leave you guys with this very important, I guess, again, I'll use the word tip. It's very, very important that you guys keep an open mind. I've said this before. It is essential. It is also very, very important that you listen to your dreams, because dreams have symbols as well in them. And I believe many times that those symbols, especially for those of you who keep asking, because there's people that ask and they're just like, I'm so desperate to shift. And then they have a dream and it's like, oh, it's only a dream. Oh my God, it was only a dream. And I'm like, I'm so frustrated with that whole thing because I'm like, well, what was the dream about? And what happened? And can you take anything from that? From the symbols or whatever it is that you're seeing, can you take something from that that might be helpful? Well, people just want to be able to get out there. They don't want to do the work or what's required to be able to achieve this thing. They just want to get out there. So keep an open mind, pay attention to your dreams. And anyway, I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.